Hello and welcome back to our Ocarina of Time playthrough. In our last video, we pulled the Master Sword, we became an adult, and we went and collected the hook shot from the graveyard in Kakariko Village. And today we're taking on the Forest Temple. Starting with this little gold sculptula right here. So there's going to be lots of awesome Forest Temple music today. I'm going to squeeze this all in and get through the boss fight in this video. There we go. Now I know this is a lot of people's favorite dungeon in the game. I'm kind of torn. I really like the Spirit Temple and the Shadow Temple, but I do enjoy this one. Okay, so those are the Poe sisters. We gotta track them down and defeat all of them to reactivate that elevator and make it down to the boss. It's basically the goal of this temple. Now, although we don't always all agree that this is the best dungeon in the game, I think most people kind of agree that they do not like the water temple. I know this version of the game, they've made the iron boots into an item to speed things up, and I think they've done a few other things to make that temple a little bit better. We're gonna see pretty soon here, because this is gonna be the last dungeon we actually play in order. We're going right for the water temple after the forest temple, so you'll have to tune back in to see how we get into that temple without taking on the fire temple at all. Okay, that was our first kind of mini boss of the dungeon. There's going to be a couple of those fights. Huh, which side of this chest opens the chest? There we go, we got a second key. Do we need any fairies? I don't think we do. Yeah, we have enough fairies and bottles. I hope we never end up needing 3 fairies and bottles, because that's excessive, but it's just habit to carry them all. Alright, which door is next? Not that one, because it has bars on it. We can open this one with the Song of Time. As long as we can remember which buttons to press to play it. Let's see here. I've got the second screen so small it's hard to read that a little bit, but am I hitting a wrong button here? I'm hitting Y instead of X. Alright, that's going to open up this door. Now this room, there's two rooms that look like this room, and I always used to get them confused and think they were the same room. And that would cause me to get so spun around and lost in this dungeon. Because these two rooms actually connect, so I'd go through a passage into that next room and think I'm back in this room and get completely confused as to what was happening. There's just kind of two of these outdoor rooms that have the water and grass in them in this same temple. I don't know why when I was younger I just could not figure that out, but found that this temple a little confusing that way. There's also I think there's a key I would pass by accident and just not notice it. That would cause me to have to backtrack and get spun around a little bit. Okay, we have the map now. I just love the reflection they put on the metal parts of the chests in this game. So this is actually the second room that's outside that I used to confuse with that previous room. Yeah, so there's the water and grass in here. And I think both rooms kind of have like a well type area. And for some reason my brain would just see that and be like, oh, it's the same room. I don't know why. But that would cause me to get very confused. Like, why do I keep going back to the same room when I'm trying to move on in the dungeon? Alright, so we actually want to go down this well. I think there's a key down here somewhere. Oh, that water was more shallow than I thought, I guess. Figured if we landed in the water, we wouldn't take damage. Luckily, this game's so forgiving about giving us recovery hearts. I'm pretty sure there's a harder mode you can play for this game where it actually does extra damage with the enemies, and I think it doesn't give you those same recovery hearts. Yeah, so we're back and forth between these two outdoor rooms, and for some reason that used to get me really confused. Once I realized they're two separate outdoor rooms that just connect, it made this this temple a lot more simple to figure out. Okay, so the door we went through with the time block we've kind of completed. So now we're moving on to the next door we need to go through. So this one is open, and we have keys now to get through this locked one. So we're going to do that next. I gotta say, I don't know if it's the nostalgia or what, but this game just holds up for me. Every time I turn this on and start playing, I still really enjoy this game. Maybe some of the graphics in the original didn't age, but the gameplay itself really did age pretty well, especially for an N64 title. I don't find I go back and revisit a lot of those games. And certainly when I do, like, I notice that they've aged a certain way. I think a lot of it is because they were the first 3D games, but you didn't have that second thumbstick on the controls, so it made controlling them like a little wonky. So you notice when you play them that something's off about it. They kind of didn't really figure out that second thumbstick part to 3D gaming until kind of like the early PS1, PS2 days, where you'd get finally a second thumbstick. And then it took some game developers a while to figure out implementing it into the gameplay. So kind of 3D games that came out before then, things like early PS1, N64, Dreamcast, like the 3D controls, when you go back and play them, seem a little weird. Even this being a Nintendo 3DS game, the 3DS came out, I think, like in the mid to late 2000s, and it still did not have that second thumbstick. I don't know how Nintendo didn't figure that out, because by this point you've already released things like the GameCube and figured out that you need a second thumbstick to control a 3D game, but then they made a new handheld system based around 3D gaming and didn't put that thumbstick on there. I don't know how that got past their quality control, but I always thought that was a little weird for that to not be included on that console. Alright, I think we're up at the good old twisted hallway now. Yeah, I remember thinking this was so cool the first time I saw this. Just the way the room spins and it's all twisted as you walk through it. That seemed like such a cool, like, visual effect in 1998. And just the puzzle where you have to, like, try and untwist the hallways and then retwist the hallways seemed like such a cool concept at the time. I think we're up to our next mini-boss fight. Yeah, this is the more difficult version of that last fight we already did. He can walk over that open pit, but if we walk over there, we'll actually, I think, fall down and it'll reset this whole battle. Wow, his jump attack does like multiple hearts of damage to us at the moment. You're gonna have to be careful on these boss fights. Well, that was an easier battle. It's kind of interesting. They've upgraded a lot of the textures in this game, but then some of these, like, characters still look like the N64 version. Like, there's no upgrade done to them at all. Whereas this chest, you can tell, has been visually upgraded, and the items we pick up and some things like that. Just recover some health here before we move on. Now I am really enjoying this remake. So my question for anyone watching is, what's a game you'd like to see get remade? Maybe with more modern controls or upgraded textures and graphics. I'm just wondering, like, a game that hasn't aged well, that could be upgraded and made better. To me, I'd like to see GoldenEye, if they could ever figure it out, upgraded, just because it was such a good game when it came out, but since it didn't have that second thumbstick, the controls when you go back and play it just seem really awkward now. It seemed fine enough to control when it came out, but we hadn't learned what good 3D gaming was like, so now that you go back and play it, it just kind of hasn't aged well. Okay, this is the first of many of these fights. We just have to block his attacks, and then when he reappears, hit him with the sword. Alright, that's the first of 4 Poes defeated. Okay, we collected another key. There's so many keys in this dungeon, it's crazy. Okay, this is another room that looks like that previous room where we just fought that Poe sister, so you can see how this dungeon can be a little confusing just because there's a couple rooms that look the same as others. Alright, so now we gotta go do that same battle we just did with the previous one. But with this one, they really don't change up the battle mechanics between these Poe sisters. They all just do the same thing. It'd be kind of cool if each one had their own, like, unique attack. The last one kind of does, but the first 3 are just like a rinse and repeat type of situation with the battling. There we go. So 2 of them are down. We have 2 left to go. And that'll, of course, unlock the boss battle once we get them done. Compass. It actually gives us that kind of late in this dungeon. Like, we've already explored a lot of this dungeon and defeated half the Poe sisters. Now, being that this is our first adult dungeon in this game, we're gonna have to, for the first time this playthrough, find a boss key to open up our way to battle the boss of the dungeon. Of course, our goal being to awaken the Sage of the Forest Temple to help us defeat Ganon in the end of the game. So if you haven't played this game before, basically there's 5 temples as an adult we need to defeat to awaken 5 sages. And they will allow us to make our way to Ganon's castle and fight him. Until we complete all 5 dungeons and awaken all 5 sages, we really can't enter his castle to rescue Zelda and restore Hyrule. It's kind of how like the first several games in the series played. Right from kind of the get-go, you couldn't defeat Ganon or even enter the final dungeon of most of the original Zelda games unless you had completed all the previous temples. Yeah, dungeons or temples, depending on which game you were playing, but this was only really, what, the 4th console game? And I think there might have been 1 or 2 handheld games released before this, but a lot of them had kind of a similar idea. Okay, we have a floor master here. So if those little ones get you, they'll form back into a new big one. Yeah, no, I think this was the key I always ran past. I didn't notice that there was a turn-off to get that key. I would just run straight down the hallway and not pick it up. And then I'd get to a locked door and kind of get confused, have to figure out where I missed the key and go backtrack in here. I guess that's just kind of the type of thing that happens when you're much younger playing some of these video games. Alright, so we have the boss key. I think we might need to re-twist this hallway now in order to progress through to the third Po Sister. There we go. Now we should be able to get back on track. We kind of had to untwist the hallway, get a key that was hidden, retwist it, and now we can move on. Making some pretty good progress here. We're getting through this dungeon in a reasonable amount of time. I've definitely struggled more here in the past, but it's still nowhere near Water Temple level of confusion. Be exciting to see what they've done with that temple, how it got upgraded between the N64 and the 3D version of this game. I have heard that they kind of brightened and changed the shadow temple a little bit, and some people say it kind of ruins the atmosphere of that temple, so I'm kind of interested to see those changes as well. Ah, this puzzle. This took me a while to figure out when I was younger. You have to shoot through the flame to melt the ice on the target. You have to line it all up just right to make the shot. Okay, now we've twisted that room. Unfortunately, we have to ride this all the way around to get back out of here. That shot seemed such more daunting when I was younger. Pretty easy shot today. I don't know if that's, you know, with the 3DS version upgrade, or if that was just always an easier shot. It's possible my aim was just terrible when I was much younger. Okay, do we want to go this way, or have we been this way? I'm thinking we might actually want to go through that hole in the floor. Yeah, that flame is lit, so I'm thinking we've already been that way. So I think we just gotta jump in the hole in the floor. Just gonna double check and make sure that this room is clear. Yeah, this is the room where we had a mini boss fight, so we do need to just jump through the hole in the floor. I guess it just wouldn't be a playthrough of the Forest Temple if I didn't get spun around and confused somewhere. Okay, we got some spiders waiting to ambush us. Once we get into this puzzle, we can't really use items for some reason, so it's better to take these guys out from back here so they don't cause us any problems once we're in the middle of this puzzle. There we go. No more spiders. I know this spot is safe. You can't really adjust the camera to look up at the roof either. It's part of the problem. I guess that really wasn't worth stopping for, but at least we knew this spot was safe, so... Oh, okay, so this is the third Poe sister. And to get them out of the painting, we need to solve a little puzzle first. So this piece in the middle is actually just like a distraction. When we push it out of the way, we can connect the puzzle. Kind of gives you one more piece than you need, but it puts it in the way. So you gotta just like shove it out of the way and then put these 4 pieces together. Hopefully we're lined up correctly here. Okay, one more piece. This wasn't too difficult, luckily. Alright, now it's just that same battle we've already fought twice with the previous 2 Poe sisters. Once we finish this, we just have to go back to the main room with the elevator to take on the last Poe sister, so we're kinda almost done the dungeon. Now typically after this we'd be headed towards Death Mountain Crater and the Fire Temple, but like I said, we're going to be playing this game pretty out of order, so we're actually going Water Temple next and the Ice Cavern, so I hope you'll tune back in to see how strange we can make the dungeon order of this game. So I think if we place enough things out of order, the game will get pretty interesting at some point. Wanted to do something a little different because enough people have already played this game normally. Okay, so this battle, 4 of them pop up, 3 of them are kind of just fake. The one that spins at the start is the one you're actually targeting. If you shoot all the fake ones, the real one will actually come over and attack you and do damage. So you want to try and hit the one that's spinning before shooting the other 3. Alright, and that completes the 4 Poe sisters, so we can head down to the ending part of this dungeon now. There's just one more puzzle to solve down here. So there's a few switches behind bars we have to hit to open up the boss area. So we can rotate the room and then hit these buttons. Once we hit all the buttons, the boss area will be open to us. So I'm just going to keep moving the room to the left just to make sure we don't get confused here. Oh, I did not mean to jump on that. I was trying to walk around that. You know, I bet that's going to reset this room too. Just to add insult to injury here. It's fine, it just means we need to push this one extra time, but... yeah, we already hit that switch, so it did definitely reset the room when we went up the elevator. Okay, so that opened the bars that were on top of the first switch that we saw. And I believe that one will be the last switch we need to hit to open up the boss area. It really keeps giving us arrows. It's almost as if we're going to need them to take on the boss. I think in a lot of these games, the item you get in the dungeon is obviously the one you need to defeat the boss. I think they didn't really mess with that formula until about Breath of the Wild. From some of the first Zelda games all the way up until Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, all of them, whatever item you got in the dungeon was the one you were going to need to use to defeat the boss. They definitely upgraded the look of the boss door. Okay, so we have a room with a bunch of paintings, but no boss. And when we try to exit... we have Phantom Ganon, evil spirit from beyond. So he travels in and out of the paintings. 2 of them will come at us. We gotta figure out which one is the real one and shoot it with the bow. So the fake one turns around and heads back. The real one kind of lights up, turns white, and jumps out of the painting. And if we don't hit him with an arrow, he'll actually jump across to another painting and shoot like an energy wave that'll damage us. Well, so far this is going rather well. That was the first phase. Now we have to play this kind of like almost tennis game where he shoots an energy ball and we gotta hit it back at him. Once it hits him, we can damage him with our sword. It's weird how it misses sometimes. We're targeting him properly, so I don't know why it's going off in a different direction sometimes. It's almost like it's telling us we're hitting it at the wrong angle, but I don't know if that's even a possibility. Yeah, maybe if we swing too early or too late. But you do kind of have to swing a little bit early in this, otherwise it'll actually damage you. Alright, we got him. That does it for the boss. And I think that's going to do it for today's video as well, so come back and see our next Ocarina of Time video, where we'll be starting to sequence break this game and play things out of order. As always, thanks for watching our video, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.